Okay, first of all, welcome to our home and thank you so much for coming. It's lovely to see so many people for this very special lady.
Hello. Hi. How do I change her? Oh, sorry. There we go.
Alright, say hi to Suzanne.
Just interrupt. Sorry.
Okay, before we get into what tonight is about, I would like to just do a quick few thank yous who helped make tonight happen. So firstly to Sally Ann for all her hard work, as we've been accustomed to, in taking care of all the admin needs and everything, making also all the lists and making sure that everyone was accounted for. To Judy for the beautiful flower arrangements throughout the house and the special finishing touchings beautiful finishing touch they have brought to the evening. And of course Helen, who not only worked with us on how EJC should theoretically recognise International Women's Day, but has put so much time into both refining the concept and bringing it to life through shopping, baking, setting up and general support. There is no doubt that none of this would have happened without her. And welcome to, of course, Deborah, or as she is known here, Nanny. Nanny, you need no special welcome here between these walls. But we're so appreciative that you have agreed to come share time with us all tonight. Around the world, International Women's Day is a day for celebrating the social, economic, cultural and political achievements of women. Usually, when a group of people are asked how they can celebrate International Women's Day, their minds are directed to a celebrity woman within their midst. Someone whose achievements seem to stand out and make women proud. When we sat down and asked how EJC could recognise this special day, a few ideas were thrown about, but our attention was quickly turned to Nanny. When we asked Nanny if she wanted to share some of her history with us tonight, without hesitation she said yes. When we were talking to her a few days ago, she noted that she had never done anything like this before and she doesn't know why she said yes. But although she does have celebrity status in this house, Nanny's fame doesn't necessarily spread far and wide. But famous or not, I know why she said yes, and by the end of the evening you will too. And it will highlight the life of an EJC elder stateswoman and everything that she has been through and overcome to join us here tonight. It is a perfect way for us to celebrate International Women's Day. And with that, we turn to the star of the night, Deborah Herzog, or as she is known here, Nanny. Okay, so Nanny, how about we start? To start us off, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and where you're from, and just a little bit of brief history about where you come from. Should I put the microphone?
Well, as it is, I really don't know why I agreed to say anything. But I did. And here I am. Well, my name is Deborah Herzog. I was Deborah Burhank, was my first husband, which unfortunately passed away when he was only 61. And I was 51. Can you all hear?
Yeah.
I don't think it's
There
on.
is a microphone if it is on.
I don't think it's on, Helen.
It's on.
Okay.
Okay. My children were married, and even though I did not even think about second marriage, here it came. It just came to my house. And I married the second time, Sam Herzog. My name from home, my maiden name is Horowitz. Your generation didn't know him, but there was a lot in my generation, and even older people than me, that knew my dad, because he was here. Anyway, I came here, I was 19 years old. Sorry. I was 17 years old. I was 7 years old when the war broke out. I was the only child. And I don't know whether you can understand it, what's happened, because I can't understand it myself, but I'm just telling you the facts. At that time, when the Germans walked into Krakow, where I came from, Krakow wasn't bombed or anything. They just let them come in. There they were, standing on the corners, giving lollies to the children. And my mom said to me, don't take any lollies from the Germans because they might be poisoned. What did I understand was war? I can't put time to it, but a few days later, my father decided with his brother-in-laws to go towards Russia because it was safer for the Jewish men. Anyway, I was the only child. I was left with my mom. I also had a nanny, my wet nurse, which was with me from the time I was born. She fed me. She nursed me, I mean. And she was extremely dedicated to my family. She was Christian, Catholic. And she was the most beautiful person. When my father went away, he just said to me, look after your mom. It was fine. At the time, I said, yes, Daddy. But now, I'm thinking, how does a person say to a 7-year-old child, look after a sick woman, because she was sick, she had heart problems. But at that time, it was fine. I was extremely close with my dad, because my mom was not well, so my dad used to take all the responsibilities, men and women responsibilities. Like to the doctor he would go to the dentist he would go to. So automatically you get so close to your father that if you got a problem, you don't go to your mother, you go to your father. Anyway, I can't tell you all the details because I'll be here probably till Pesach. But days went by. We had shelters, we had a shelter, we had bombardments, we went to the shelters, we came out from the shelters, nothing happened. We had to leave Krakow. We did not get a permission to go to the ghetto. So half of our family went to the ghetto and half of the family had to leave Krakow. So it was my mom, my auntie, that was my father's sister, her son, and me. Well, Yachka was not allowed to go with us, but she packed us and she went to help us, but she had to leave. And she was coming, so nobody would notice her in the evening to see how we're doing. I don't know how long we were there. We went to Calvaria. Again, people from Poland know that you don't have any ties to that. It was very, very bad for us. They were very anti-Semitic. It was a Catholic town. They used to have pilgrims, you know, so there was a mountain there, which they called Calvaria's Mountain. And they used to make processions. And it was very anti-Semitic, and they wouldn't sell us any food for any money. Not money, not silver, not gold, not diamonds, nothing. They just wanted to starve us. Because I was young, with young people anything goes. But I watched my mom eating day in and day out barley, not this fine barley, but the thick barley, 3 times a day. And I can still see her doing that. You know, those things don't go away. Anyway, we were there. I can't put time to it. My father came back from Russia. He was in Bosnia, and we went to Bosnia too. What really put us through Calvaria was a German officer. He helped us. He knew my auntie because at the beginning of the war, she had a beautiful apartment. They put 2 Germans into it because she was only there with her son. Her husband went away, and we lived there too. So the 2 Germans were there, and one was very young, and he used to come drunk every night and shoot to the furniture. Luckily not to my auntie or her son. And the other one was a very nice, solid man, left his wife at home with the son. And he used to help my auntie. He let my auntie come to the room and listen to the news. He used to bring chocolates and lollies to my cousin and would take him for a walk without the band, you know, because he looked very Aryan. He spoke German, so did my auntie. And then when my auntie had to leave the place, and when we lived in Calvaria, and we were nearly starvation, very close to starvation, he used to be the one that used to come at night and bring us food. And he was the one that went towards Russian side, where my dad and my uncle were there, and he brought them back. And after the war, his name was Wagner, Herr Wagner. And after the war, my auntie looked for him because maybe he needed help or something, I don't know. She couldn't find him, and she was very upset because he was a real mensch. Anyway, half of the family were in Bosnia, half of the family were in Krakow. What's happened? In Krakow, my father and my uncle, they used to have businesses separate, but the same sort of businesses. Rubber stamps and engraving. Anyway, in Krakow came an elderly gentleman came to my uncle in the shop, and he says he wants him to make him a rubber stamp. Well, he looks through the papers and all this. So the uncle, there were 2 brother-in-laws. The uncle that was my father's brother, he took him by the collar and he says, in Yiddish everything went, he says, I am not making false papers, this is a legitimate business, out. And he threw him out. Threw him out. The other uncle says to him, what did you do? Maybe we could do something, maybe we could do some papers for our family, maybe we could save ourselves this way. God gave, he came again. At this time, they didn't throw him out. But my uncle said, okay, I'll make you stand. I don't want any money, because he wanted to pay a lot of money for it. He says, I don't want any money, but I want papers. He says, all right, I'll get you papers. Anyway, he got papers, but he could get on the papers could have been made, you know, one mistake, one tiny little mistake, and the whole lot would have been gone through the chimney. So it had to be done very, very carefully. The papers were in English because it's supposed to be that my grandfather went before the war to America, that he had his brother there. And he did, in fact, have a brother there, my grandfather. But he never went to America. And he came back, put the papers somewhere in the cupboard, and meantime, his wife wasn't alive anymore. Meantime, the war broke out, and they took my grandfather also then. By then, he wasn't probably alive anymore. And when the kids, they were not kids, but his kids, were moving, they found those papers. And so, now it started. You have to have all the verifications, all the signatures. It was a very, very hard job. We were 13 people. But they were all Horowitzes, except one Orenstein and one Zimmet, because they were the brother-in-laws. And that had to be everything done together properly. I don't know. I was a child. I don't know what. I just know that we came to Bergen-Belsen, and we were there 2 years. And look, I really didn't, I told you everything very, how do you say, oberflächlich, like on the surface everything. I didn't go deeply in anything. So if you got any questions.
Yeah. Tell us about the miracle of your family. You all went to Bergen-Belsen, and the miracle that happened in Bergen-Belsen, with the 13 of you coming in and going out, and how that happened.
That's what I said. I said we went in 13 people. We went in. We were there for 2 years. They used to make segregations, and usually the oldest from the family supposed to come to be interviewed by the Gestapo men. And my father used to make his brother sick always, and he used to go himself because he was quicker and I don't know, I think he was more, he was younger, but that wasn't the case. I don't know, but he was more suitable for the job. But one day, my father realized what sort of a job he had on his shoulders. It depended how he answered the questions, whether we all will be leaving or will go through the chimney. So one day after such an interview, I was looking for him. My mom was a sick woman, she was in a hospital. So I was looking for him because we were standing having an appeal. I stop.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
And couldn't find him anywhere. Somebody told me that after the interview he fainted. The strain was just too much for him. He fainted. They brought him to himself again, and he fainted again. When he realized where he was, he just couldn't take it. He fainted again. I think that was the last interview. But we were over 2,000 people in the camp, and just over 200 were left at the end. And even that, they wanted actually to shoot us before the war finished, because we were in Bergen-Belsen, and the English soldiers came to Bergen-Belsen. And the Germans took us by train, and they were going to drown us. But they didn't have time anymore.
Nanny, your entire family of 13 were liberated. What was the experience in Europe like after the war, before you came to Australia?
Sorry, where were they?
Where after you were liberated,
Yes.
what was the experience in Europe like after the war, but before you came to Australia?
Look, I was 13 years old, and we must have gone by train to Belgium. I don't know because, I think my mother, my father, and I wasn't interested what we were going to do. I did what they told me to do. But we finished up in Belgium, in Antwerp, and there we were 4 years. It was hard because there was no language. In Antwerp was Flemish and French.
You went on Hakshara?
I wanted to go to Israel. And my father didn't want me to go, but he didn't want my mother to suffer more than she did already. And he knew that if I'll go, she'll go too. She'll want to go. In those days, there was only Aliyah Beit. And I was nagging and nagging. And my father said, all right, go. So I went, and I had good time. I learned Hebrew. I learned sewing. We had gymnastics, and there were kids, I don't really remember the order, but probably from 12 to 16, something like that, boys and girls. I used to go home once a month, and my parents used to come to see me every week on Sunday. And I had a very good time, and I was very happy. I learned also sewing. And then my father said to me, I am going to Poland. I am going to look some... His niece told him that the machine for the embossed labels that he used before the war was standing there somewhere in the corner, and he went to repossess it. So, this was... I said, what about Mommy? Mommy's staying put. Though my mom lived with my uncle and auntie at the time, I didn't, and this auntie, that one auntie, lost her son during the war. From the whole family, he was a beautiful teenager. And he worked in a car factory. And there was an action. You know what means an action? That they decided to catch people and shoot them or send them to camps. That was the action. And they said, this position where he worked was very, very safe. So he went to work, and after work he didn't come home. And he didn't come home. My auntie, when she could, she went looking for him. No trace. All the kids, they were all young kids working there. They bribed the people, the older Jewish people. They paid, they bribed, and the older Jews stayed, and all the young kids were sent to the chimney. Mm-hmm. So my auntie, that had the only son, we all were. I was the only daughter, and he was the only son. And then one auntie had a son and a daughter, and an uncle had a son and a daughter. From the whole family now, it's my cousin and me left. Net met my cousin. Mm-hmm. And yeah, but where did so when I went on, when my father was going to go to Poland, I said, I'm coming home and stay with Mom till you come back. He said, okay. He was going just for a week or 10 days. You know, it was by train, very short time. I went home. I was on the Hashara 9 months, waiting for Aliyah Beit. After I went home, I get a telegram, come back, we're going. I couldn't believe my mom. I was absolutely heartbroken. I was with the kids there for 9 months. You eat together, you sleep together, you work together. We were one family. I had to leave it all and back home. It's nicht beschert. And that's how it is. And what else you wanted to know?
How did you get to Australia? How did you get to Australia? How did you get to Australia?
How did I get to Australia? By boat.
How did it come about that you came to Australia?
I had an uncle here. My father had another brother. He had another 2 brothers. One in Israel that went to Israel before the war, and one came to Australia during the war. He was doctor of agriculture, and he was actually the man that, the first person that planted tobacco in Australia, because tobacco was imported from England.
Wow.
And that's how we all came. Sorry, not all. My auntie came. My auntie with her family came here, and my father. Yeah, I just didn't tell you the rest of the other story. I'll come back. And yeah, and so we came here, and the others went to Israel. But when I came back from the Hashara, and my father went to Poland that time, he found the machine, and I don't know how